Kanye West.
Kanye West.
Kanye West.
Kanye West.
Kanye West storming out of an interview on Piers Morgan Uncensored.
You're not gonna take inches off my bro.
Kanye West is playing chess while the whole world is playing checkers. I believe that, and there are reasons why I think that. The first reason has to do with his deal with Adidas. His first deal was with Nike, but Nike refused to give him royalty for each shoe sold. So he went with Adidas because Adidas promised them in his contract that he would get 11% out of the profit from each shoe sold. So Adidas teamed up with Kanye and started the Yeezys, and his empire grew. It was making billions of dollars of revenue, and Kanye was making a shit ton of money. Now we move forward from 2022, there was some very big issue. Ye was saying that they were stealing his design. Ye was saying they were starting to drop merch without his permission, and he lost all creative control.
He lost $4 billion in his net worth. Did he have a bad licensing deal?
1000%. If I remember correctly, in his contract, he gave up creative control. Also didn't have the language stated that anything that was developed by the licensee was owned by the licensor. So when they made any variation of his product, they immediately grabbed ownership.
And as you know, Kanye does not like being controlled. But he is stuck with this contract and really can't do much. So I think this is where the start of his anti-Semitic views. And also, this is also when he started wearing White Lives Matters in public. Long story short, Adidas dropped. In the process, he lost about $4 billion of his net worth. But again, I think he did this on purpose. Why? To get out of his contract. And he had to find a way to get out of his contract. And the only reason why I say that is because of what he said here.
For everyone in contracts, I know that this will never happen again in history. There will never be a situation where people end a multi-billion-dollar deal off of a tweet. Gotcha. Gotcha. So I would like to thank everyone that was involved with this negotiation. Thank God no one was hurt in the process. And I feel free.
And on top of that, Adidas lost $1.3 billion. Their stock price dropped dramatically. And Kanye was still ownership of the name Yeezus. So he has full control of the name, and he could do whatever he wants. All the creative control is all up to him. He could set the prices to whatever he wanted. He wanted to sell $20 worth of shoes. But if you think about it, maybe he couldn't. Even if he sold it at $20 with Adidas, the problem is his profit margins will be very slim. If the profit was $10, he was only gonna get $1.10 per shoe sold, and that's nothing. I'm sure he's not putting all that work for just $1 per shoe. Now he could set his price at $20 and still possibly get better profit margins, so he could sell less and still make the same amount that he was making with Adidas. That is where I think he purposely said those things to get out of his contract so he could have more control of his brand. Now, let's talk about the music. As you know, he came out with this song called Hail Hitler. And I don't know what you think about it, but regardless, there's a reason he's saying he hates the Jews. But why? Why does Ye hate Jews so badly? Well, let's hear what he has to say.
My lawyer was Jewish, my regulator was Jewish, but like 8 people that basically would collude and talk without me were in groups saying, okay, this is what the tour is going to be. This is his next house. And they were making all these decisions, and they're making all this money. And at the end, I was like, I ended my tour and I don't have the money. But what happens is every time, if I talk to any of these business people one by one, because mind you, I didn't get to the tweet by not having a conversation. I had the conversations beforehand, before I got to the tweet. Now we're going to take it to the stage. Now we're on the world stage. Like, you can't even explain yourself. And we don't care how you got to that point either. And that's fucked up.
So it looks like Ye was pushed to the edge, and he was actually had no choice but to start making these comments, because it looks like nobody was listening to him. At least the people that were screwing him over wasn't giving him a chance to really speak his mind. I guess the only way to get the attention is to start spitting out anti-Semitic action.
If everyone can say, hey, you can't point out this fact, or we're going to say you're anti-Semitic and we're going to call you Hitler. I feel that there has to be at least 1% of safeguarding the ability to screw the artist based on saying it's anti-Semitic by pointing out that they just so happen to all be Jewish.
But if this is true, and then they got their buddies to go against Ye, I guess Ye is just making all these comments as a big FU to not only to the people that screwed them over, but also to their buddies. I hear other things too, that Ye is trying to use this to promote his album that's coming out and also to promote his merch. But I think it's deeper than that, right? Because Kanye is very controversial. He's been saying a lot of crazy things since the early 2000s. But again, I don't think Ye always had to go this extreme. Why is he going this extreme? Just for some record sales? I think he's just proven to people that he can say whatever he wants and people will still buy from Ye. He made a cheap Super Bowl commercial and for $7 million, and he said he got in return $27 million in return. That's crazy. And that is after his anti-Semitic remarks. And his album Vulture 2 went #1 when he was an independent artist, the first independent artist to ever do so. We could all be protesting him, but we're not protesting him. We're still listening to his music, we're still buying his merch. But we need to get even deeper than all this. He said it himself that these major labels are profiting out of the trauma of black people, so he's doing the same. He is profiting off the trauma of Jewish people.
Off of me wearing they pain, but they playing, turning up, promoting, and making money off of our pain.
So Ye is showing that he cannot be controlled. He could literally say anything and people are listening to his music. We are listening to this music. It became viral. Everybody knows the song. And if you go on Instagram, it's meme to oblivion. So can you imagine just Mark Zuckerberg just goes to Instagram one day and just constantly have to hear that song just because of the trolls are just putting it on every meme possible? And this all comes at a cost. The banks stopped him. He lost his family. He's basically alone. What do you think? You think Kanye's playing chess? You think he's just going crazy? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You think what I say makes sense? Am I being dumb? Do you understand? Do I need to be more clear? Let me know what you think, because I'm kind of curious. Because people are saying that he's crazy, but if we take the crazy away, what is he really saying? You got to listen to what he's saying. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoy. Like, subscribe. Hope this makes sense. I hope you have a great day. Peace out.